Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Thank you. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravana Chari. Yamuna Tiravana Chari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravana Chari. Yamuna Tiravana Chari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Nitai Gauranga Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada, Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Patita Pavan Srila Gurudeva, Patit Pavan Srila Gurudeva. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Parivrajikacharya Astotarastu Shishimad, His Divine Grace. Srila Bhaya Charanar Vindam Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Giri Govardhan Nath Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to your Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for attending today's celebration of the amazing Leela of Govardhan Puja. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and by the sweetest graces of my spiritual master, my darkened eyes were opened with the salve of love in the form of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances, gratitude, and homage to him. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhya vaishnavebhya namo namaha. We offer our respectful obeisances upon all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees and can fulfill desires of everyone, for they're full of compassion for all fallen conditioned souls. Hare Krishna. So today is the celebration of this amazing Leela called Govardhana Puja. It was 12, 24, 25. 24, 25. The word go refers to the devotees and refers to the cows. Krishna and Balaram very much love the devotees and the cows. There's a very nice verse in the Vedas, Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahman Hitaya Cha, Jagatataya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. So here we learn from this verse that Krishna so much loves his devotees and so much loves his mothers, the cows, that he can go to any extent to show his love. And so this Leela is actually an exemplification of that. So we'll read from this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 24, text 5. 25, text 25. So please repeat after me. Tasmad gavam brahmanam. Tasmad gavam brahmananam. Andresh charyabatang mukha. Andreshcharabhyatam makaha ya indrayaga sambharas ya indrayaga sambharas Terayang sadhayatam makaha Terayang sadhayatam makaha Tasmad gavang brahmananam Andreshcharyabhyatam makaha Ya indriyaga sambharas Terayang sadhatam makaha. Please repeat. Tasmad gavang brahmananam Andreshcharabhyatam makaha Ya indrayaga sambharas Terayang sadhatam makaha Tasmad gavang brahmananam Andreshcharabhyatam makaha Ya indrayaga sambharas Terayang sadhatam makaha Tasmad gavam brahmananam Andreshcharabhyatam makaha Ya indrayaga samharas Terayang sadhatam makaha. Tasmat, therefore, gavam, of the cows, brahmananam, of the brahmanas, andrehe, and of the hill Govardhana, cha, also, arabhyatam, let it begin, makaha, the sacrifice, yea, which, indrayaga, for the sacrifice to Indra, sambharaha, the ingredients, tehi, by them, ayam, this, sadhyatam, may it be carried out, makaha, the sacrifice. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Somebody want to read the translation? Great, very good.
Therefore may a sacrifice for the pleasure of the cows, the Brahmanas and Govardan hill begin. With all the paraphernalia collected for worshipping Indra, let this sacrifice be performed instead.
Thank you very much. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna is famous as Go Brahmana Hita, the well-wishing friend of the cows and the Brahmanas. Lord Krishna specifically included the local Brahmanas in his proposal because he is always devoted to those who are devoted to the godly Vedic culture. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that by the Vedas he is to be known. Aham eva vedya, Vedanta krit, Vedavid eva chaham. So the purpose of all of the Vedas is actually to come to know about Krishna. Hence, in this purport, Krishna is indicating through the hearts of the devotees in this case, because in this case the translation was written by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, that those who are devoted to the godly Vedic culture, godly means that it's relating to Krishna, because Krishna is God. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So referring to Him as the purpose of the Vedas, when anybody serves Krishna according to the Vedas, according to the instruction, Aham eva vedyo Vedanta krit Vedavid eva chaham, Krishna becomes very, very devoted to them. Not just loves them, he's devoted to the devotees. So in this pastime, Indra was being propitiated by the senior brahmanas, the elders in the community of Vrindavan village. But Krishna intervened and he asked his father, Baba, what is this all about? What are you doing? What are these preparations all about? So Baba said to him, you're a young boy, but anyway, let me explain it to you, because Krishna insisted the explanation be given to him, because Baba in the first instance thought, well, you're just a young boy, just go along with what we're doing. But Krishna, no, you must tell me, and I will hear with a pure heart. I will listen to you with a pure heart, and then we can continue. So after Nanda Baba explained to Krishna what was happening, Krishna explained to Nanda Baba that actually you are doing this out of duty to Indra, but Indra's duty is to give rain all over the place, not just here so that the crops can grow in Vrindavan, but Indra also reigns over the sea, over the mountains, over everyone, whether they're qualified or not qualified. That is his duty. But the higher duty is actually to do that which actually creates much bigger results than duty. So results are created at three levels. Results are first created at the level of fear. When somebody does something out of fear, they create some results from that. Then at the next level, they create results out of duty, like parents out of duty look after their children, teachers out of duty look after their students, like that. Those who are senior look after their subordinates out of duty. That creates even bigger results, much bigger results. And then the biggest results are created out of love. When service is done out of love, then transcendental results come. There can be no limit to the results, so you have to call them transcendental results, because they transcend this material world like that. So Krishna said, Baba, think about it. The Brahmanas, why does he mention the Brahmanas? The Brahmanas are the head of society. In society, the Brahmanas. And Vrindavan is a society of devotees. Everyone in Vrindavan, every tree in Vrindavan, every insect in Vrindavan, every particle of dust in Vrindavan is a devotee of Krishna. That is how they made it to Vrindavan. Otherwise, you cannot make it to Vrindavan. So they're all devotees. And amongst these devotees, there are Brahmin devotees. So Krishna is respecting the Vedas and saying, we must worship the Brahmanas, because look what the Brahmanas do. They do so many things. They give us knowledge, they give us advice, they tell us how to do things properly, they give us strategies. And then we're all very happy as a result. So worshipping them is more important. These Brahmanas do more than Indra does, because Indra just gives rain. But the Brahmanas give us everything. So which is more, rain or everything, right? And then he says, and what about our cows, mother cows? How nice they are, right? They play with us, their calves play with us, They give us such nice milk. And from that milk we make so many wonderful food products. Yeah, Krishna is a big time foodie, as we know, right? And he's going to prove that in this Leela. He's going to prove how big of a foodie he is. He loves food. And especially he loves two things: grains and milk. And preparations made out of grains and milk. Everything else sort of like garnishes the food. It decorates the food, makes it more palatable like that. But really, the essence is the grains and the milk. That is why in the most relishable preparation that you can make for Krishna is kheer, right? Krishna is called Kheer Chor Gopinath. He'll steal kheer to eat kheer, like that. So what is kheer made of? It's made of practically two items, like it's made of grains and it's made of milk. Sugar is added because Brahmanas are very much into sweets. So, if you like sweets a lot, you're probably a Brahmin. That's why you like sweets so much, like that. So, he says, these cows, when we hug them, it is actually true. You can get rid of any disease in this world by hugging a cow. Any disease, including cancer. The worst of all diseases. It might have been a better idea at the time of COVID, instead of putting the mask on our noses and mouths, if we'd been advised to go and look for cows and hug them. Did you notice the cows did not die of COVID? How many of you noticed that? Cows did not die of COVID. Every other one did. Every other animal did. But not the cows. There was no such thing as a cow that had been affected by COVID. So, he says, these cows are so nice. And then, what about Govardhan Hill? Wow, Govardhan Hill is the best. Haridas Varyo, right? We say the best of all devotees. Why? In his place, the most intimate pastimes happen. He has caves. And these are not ordinary caves. I mean, we know mountains these days that have caves. And you go inside that cave, and yes, it may be nice. There may be stalagmites and stalactites. You know what stalagmites and stalactites are? Yeah. Nice. Good boy. So, and things like that. There's waterways in there, and you can raft inside there and do amazing things in a cave. But the caves of Govardhan originally were very different. They were like castles inside the cave. There were rooms inside the cave where you can do amazing things. Things grew inside the cave. It's like the planet replicated inside the caves. And Krishna would perform wonderful pastimes with the gopis, with Radharani, with the cowherd boys, with the calves and the cows, with his different animals that he likes to play with. Krishna loves playing. He loves playing. He's very playful. So in these caves, all these wonderful pastimes would happen. And he kept something very secret in Vrindavan that he only revealed at the time of this Leela. I'll come to that a little later. So he says, and then, we love our mother cows, right? And when they go to Govardhan, the grass there is so relishable. The cows love it. They get so much milk in their bellies that their bellies literally touch the ground when they're walking. Their bellies become so full of milk that they go and touch the ground. And then they're so happy that the milk keeps coming out and the ground's covered with milk. And the grass becomes very happy. So the grass grows nicely and the cows eat that grass and they create more milk. And it's like a cycle, right? It's like a cycle that creates a movement, like that. And then the water, oh my God, the water on Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill has some of the most powerful gems in the world. And so when the water which rains comes and touches those gems, and then they flow out into a creek, that water is so relishable. When you drink that water, any disease you have will go away, including a bad attitude. I mean, there is no treatment for a bad attitude in this world, right? Medical treatment. They're trying it. It's not working. Nothing works for a bad attitude. And the secret of success is a humble attitude of service. And service means to express love. So the humble attitude of expressing love is actually the success formula of Krishna consciousness, which is the greatest of all things that can happen. And then there's so many wonderful fruits and nuts and all these things that are growing on Govardhan Hill. And, I remember when we were young, when devotees first started in the Krishna consciousness movement, there was a saying that you should not eat anything before you offer it to Krishna, right? It's still going on now, but sometimes devotees, go to restaurants and this, that, and the other, and sometimes they put things in their mouth without quite offering it. So the devotees, what they used to do before was they go to a tree and they see a nice mango tree with nice mangoes in it. They'll take their Brahmin thread out and they'll offer the whole tree. And then the devotees go, charge! And all the devotees climb up on the tree and they grab the mangoes, they eat the mangoes. Some of those mangoes fall on the ground. But in Govardhan, the mangoes are already offered to Krishna on the tree itself. Because the trees are devotees. And these trees are offering all their fruits and flowers and everything else that ever happens on the Govardhan. Govardhan has everything, by the way. There's nothing you can imagine that's not on Govardhan. Govardhan is a planet on its own type stuff, like that. And in the story as I speak, you'll see how it becomes even greater. So Krishna says, shouldn't we be worshipping Govardhan Hill? It gives us so much love. It's actually the essence of all love for us. So then Nanda Baba thinks, yeah, he's right actually. And he consults the seniors. What do you all think? I mean, he's a little boy, but he seems to be speaking something that's very profound. I wonder who he is. They get glimpses of Krishna being Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Yogamaya covers them, and therefore they're not able to see that Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter what age he is at, right? So then Nanda Baba says, okay, they agree to the proposal. And so Krishna says, now we should gather all types of foods and drinks and offer it to the cows, offer it to the brahmanas, and then offer it to Govardan. Now we're not quite doing that in our Govardan Puja program. What we do is we offer it straight to Govardhan Hill. And then we eat it, and hopefully we feed some to the cows, but maybe we don't. So it's not quite complete. Our program is not quite complete. But the complete way to do it is to feed it to the cows, feed it to the Brahmins, and feed it to the hill, all three of them. Because all three are very equally important. The cows are important, the devotees are important, and Govardhan Hill is important. And who is Govardhan Hill? Krishna himself, right? He takes the form of Govardhan Hill. Why? Because he knows something that is about to happen. Indra becomes very angry. He becomes very envious. Hey, this puja is meant for me. How did this little boy take it over? And who's Govardhan Hill? And the cows, what are the cows? They're not very smart animals. They look a little dumb, right? But they're not. But that's what he thinks. So, then he says, so when he sees that they're making all these preparations, he decides to punish them by pouring down incessant amounts of rain, heavy lightning, and the devotees are still continuing. Then he decides his ultimate weapon. What is his ultimate weapon? He rains down columns of ice. Imagine these columns. Ice falling in the size of these columns. What would happen? It would crush everything. Nobody can survive. So now, what do the devotees and the cows do? Every time they get into a situation that they can't handle, Krishna, Krishna, help us Krishna, save us Krishna. So they all start chanting Hare Krishna. They're chanting Krishna's names, holy names. So Krishna says, no worries, name bhaktaha pranashyati. My devotee will never be vanquished. So he lifts Govardhan Hill with his little finger and has everybody come into that space. So now Indra is even more angry. So he decides, I'm going to destroy the hill. So he hits very powerful bolts of lightning into the wood. Normally smash the hill to smithereens. But who became the hill? Krishna himself. Can't destroy Krishna to smithereens, right? So he's taking all these lightning bolts, and Govardhan is feeling like somebody is showering flowers on me. Nobody seems to be showering flower petals on us. Remember on Radha Astami, we do this wonderful program where we offer flower petals to the deities, and then the deities shower those flower petals on us, right? And how nice it is, right? Everybody's showering flower petals on each other, and everybody's ear to ear smiles, and there's just waves and waves and waves of devotion in this room, right? You can feel it, all the wonderful devotion that emanates from the lotus feet of Radharani, like that, and Krishna, because it's also Radha Kalachanji's appearance day that day for Dallas. So like that, Indra is just happy. He's as happy as a lark. Govardhan is as happy as a lark. And so Indra becomes even more angry now, right? He sends this huge, Samantaka, clouds, and doing all sorts of, misery, giving all sorts of misery to all these wonderful devotees who are there, the cows, trying to do that to Krishna himself. But in these 7 days and 7 nights, something amazing happened. First, the devotees in Vrindavan always want to be with Krishna, but they don't get a chance to always be with Krishna. Why? Krishna is very playful. He doesn't hang around in one place for very long. He'll move on. He'll be with the devotee for a little while, move on. Next devotee, another place, do this, do that. He's always active. He can't sit still. He just always has to do something. And whatever he does, he has to cause some mischief. He's a very mischievous boy, So there's always people trying to correct him, all these people trying to play with him so they can be part of the mischief, especially the monkeys and the little boys and girls like that. The calves, they all love mischief. Just like our children, they love mischief, right, when they're young. And parents find it a little hard to control the children. Prabhupada said you should not control your children until they grow to age 5. After 5, you can control them. So the first 5 years, you have to tolerate all their nonsense. And that will make you a nice parent. It'll train you up. It'll teach you tolerance. It's a very important quality to become a devotee. So then, where was I? What was I saying? I was saying that, Krishna, devotees like to be with Krishna always. So then, now, he's with them for 7 days and 7 nights, right? So they're feasting with their eyes on him. They're saying all sorts of nice things to him, and they're all just so deliriously happy, they forget to eat and drink for 7 days and 7 nights. They forget food for 7 days, 7 nights. Now that happens to us too sometimes, right? We become so happy about something and we forget to eat. And we don't think about eating. But when not so happy, then eating becomes very important. Oh, where's the prasadam? I'm hungry. Can't live without prasadam, right? Like that. So 7 days, 7 nights, Krishna actually not only is with them, then he shows them these different caves and what was happening. Because, see, the gopis don't know what Krishna does with the cows and the calves in that part of the cave. They know what he does with them in their part of the cave. But this time, Krishna is giving them a tour of all the leelas that he does with all the devotees. Transcendental leelas that he does not do outside as much. He does great things outside, right? What are some of the things he does outside? He does like dancing on a multi-hooded snake, Kaliya Leela, right? He does the Agasur Leela. He does so many wonderful leelas, right? But there are other leelas that he does that we don't even know about that happen in the caves of Govardan. That's why Govardan is the best devotee. Why? Because he makes arrangements for Krishna to spend time with his devotees and do leelas with one another. That is why, who is the best devotee? The best devotee is one who makes arrangements for other devotees to actually have pastimes with Krishna and the other devotees. So if we can serve devotees so they can serve Krishna and the devotees, then we become the best devotees. That should be our arrangement. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, well, who is the best? One who preaches this science to others is the best. And there never ever will be anybody better than that person. Because in preaching the science, there has to be chanting, feasting, and dancing. If you don't chant, feast, and dance, there is no science. You can talk as much philosophy as you want. You can quote every verse of Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. Nay, you can quote every one of the 18,000 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. and explain them very elaborately in the form of pedagogy and education. That nada. Doesn't matter. If you didn't chant, you didn't feast, and you didn't dance. This is the key to Krishna consciousness. This is what Krishna loves doing. You never see Krishna in Golok Vrindavan or in Vrindavan giving a lecture to his devotees, right? He does sometimes. We never see him speaking philosophy, right? He does sometimes. Like when he was a young boy, 3 years of age, he really had this urge, I should get married. Why I should get married? Then my wife will look after me very nicely, and I'll be the happiest person in the world. So he goes to his Gopa friends, and he says to his Gopa friends, let's do a fire sacrifice. The Gopa friends, why? Why should we do a fire sacrifice? Well, when the Brahmanas do fire sacrifices, they get so many benefits, right? So we can do a fire sacrifice, and we can look for the benefit that maybe we all have the most beautiful wives. The Gopas say, yeah, that's a very good idea. We all want to have beautiful wives. So Krishna gets together, and he sets up an arena, and they all gather leaves, and they crush the leaves, and that's what they're going to offer into the fire, right? And then Krishna lights the fire, and he says, now, whenever I say swaha, you say swaha at the same time, and you must throw the flowers at the same time. Don't say it before me, and don't say it after me. If you say it before me, your wife will be one-eyed. You don't want a one-eyed wife, right? So don't say it before me. And if you say it after me, your wife will be one-legged. You don't want a one-legged wife, right? So make sure you say swaha when I say swaha. All the boys, yes, ready, sir, whenever. So Krishna lights the fire, takes the ghee and goes, swaha. He doesn't know the mantra. So he goes, swaha, and all the boys go, swaha, and they throw the flowers. Then he goes, swaha, and then they take flower, they throw in fire. Then one time he sees Madhumangal threw it little before him. Madhumangal, do you want a girl that's one-eyed? No, then throw it at the right time. Okay, yes. So he keeps doing that. After a little while, one of the other gopas throws it after, right? He's a little late, he's a little distracted. He's thinking of the beautiful wife he's going to get, right? So he's thinking about that, so he's a little distracted, doesn't throw on time. Krishna corrects him. He says, hey, you want a one-legged wife? No, better throw it on time. Okay, then fire sacrifice over. He says, now we have to feed the Brahmanas. If you don't feed the Brahmanas, fire sacrifice is not over. So how do we do that? So let's all go to the houses of all the Brahmanas and say to them, tomorrow, please come to the house of Baba's house, and Mamaya's house, and there we will feed you. Brahmanas think, oh, very nice idea. Brahmanas think, wow, if we go to Mother Yashoda's house, her food is so nice that we can't stop eating. So they decide we're going to fast all night. So they fast all night, and in the morning they drink water with salt in it. If you drink water with salt in it, your appetite will grow. You can eat voracious amounts of food. So they all tell their wives, no need to cook today. Every one of you, take a holiday. We're all going to Mother Yashoda's house. Give us some nice water with salt in it, and they drink it to their fill, and they become very voraciously hungry. And then they all march towards Mother Yashoda's house and Nanda Baba's house. Mother Yashoda has just finished her morning duty, so she's a little tired. So she's sitting on the veranda and, looking into the, out there, and she sees this whole, cadre of Brahmanas walking towards her and thinking, what's happening? I didn't know there was some special event today. So the Brahmanas arrive at a gate and she says, so what's happening, Brahmanas? Well, you invited us. I invited you? Yeah, you told us you did a big fire sacrifice yesterday. Your sons came and told us, all the cowherd boys came and told us, and they told us that, you're creating a big feast for us. She says, Krishna? And Krishna's hiding right in the house. He knows what's going to happen. And looks out, yes, Maya, please come out. Did you go and tell these people? He said, Maya, we were just playing. We're playing. So we went and invited the Brahmanas. And they took us seriously. Whose fault is that? Mine or theirs? It's not our fault, it's their fault. Brahmanas, they all start laughing because Krishna plays these tricks all the time with them. So they start laughing. They got to see Krishna. That filled their bellies more than any amount of food, right? They get to see Krishna. So like this, Krishna does so many leelas, right? Outside. But then leelas inside Govardhan Hill are even more wonderful. Amazing leelas. So he takes them through a tour of them. And then he does something totally amazing. He opens up the ground and creates 7 planetary systems underneath the hill. And he tells all the devotees, including the birds, the bees, the insects, the particle of dust, because when the rain came, even the particle of dust came underneath the hill. So all the particles of dust came, but they're all not normal particles of dust. They're like people, they have a shape of a human being. If you look under the microscope, you'll see each dust has the shape of a human being. Has a head, legs, hands, torso. Particle of dust. They're called saffron particles of dust. They're all devotees. Everyone is a devotee in Vrindavan. So they all came underneath the hill. So he tells them, I know you all have desires. You had so many desires. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. I'd like to become the president of the United States of America. I want to become an astronaut so that I can go into the sky. I want to become a nice nurse. I want to become the best actor in the world. You know how people have so many desires, right? In this world. So I know you had all these desires. So now we're going to go through the 7 planetary systems and I'm going to fulfill all your desires. Any of you wanted to become a Brahma? You can become a Brahma of a universe. All of those who wanted to become Indra can become Indra, Ganesh. Anybody you wanted to become, you can become. What to speak of President of the United States of America or Prime Minister of India. Whatever else people think is a great position. Maybe Temple President. I don't think so. Nobody wants to be Temple President. That was the greatest relief in my life. Anyway, so he takes them through for 7 days and 7 nights. By the way, not 7 days, 7 nights of our time. 7 days and 7 nights of Brahma's time. He takes them through all these universes and lets them all enjoy to their hilt whatever they wanted to enjoy. Any wonder they didn't want the program to stop when they came back? They were thinking, why Krishna? Why can't we just continue this? They were praying to Indra. Keep doing it, man. Keep saying more problem on us. Because then we can do all of this with Krishna. But Indra decided he made a big mistake. So he stopped. So then Krishna said to them, now you can all go back to your homes. All the homes that were crushed were revived fully. That's Krishna, right? He can do things like that. And everything was in its own place. Even the spoon that was in a particular cupboard was in that cupboard. Every detail Krishna knew of every house, in every Goshala. I mean, that's amazing, right? Isn't this an amazing Leela? Govardhan Leela. Why did Krishna do all of this? The question is asked, why Krishna? Why this? There's nothing. Even the Mahabharata is not like this. Ramayana, you cannot compare to Govardhan Leela, any Leela to Govardhan Leela, except for one. The Rasa Leela. That is the crown jewel of all Leelas. But the Govardhan Leela is there in the crown. Right? And so the Acharyas answer that question by saying, this is how much Krishna loves each and every one of us. He wants us to be so happy that we cannot even imagine how much happiness he wants to give us. So Govardhana, I spoke about Go, now Vardhana. What does Vardhana mean? Vardhana in English means sustainable and scalable. That which always exists and keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Imagine if this temple keeps existing and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're able to keep going and become bigger and bigger and bigger people. And the food that we eat becomes better and better and better and bigger and bigger and bigger. Everything grows like that. That's called Vardhana. So Krishna wants his devotees to always grow, to always progress in a way that they become more and better, more and better, more devotees and better devotees. I remember when I was part of the GBC leadership in America, we had to come up with a sort of a saying, what does ISKCON stand for? And so we came up with this saying, more devotees, happier devotees. More devotees, happier devotees. Like that. That's Vardhana. Like that. So this is the wonderful Leela today of Govardhan Leela. We're very fortunate that we've already started celebrating it. And tonight we'll be celebrating nicely in the form of the hill. We'll do parikrama of the hill. They say if you parikrama do 3 times, then you do a full parikrama of Govardan hill. So if you do it 6 times, you do it twice. You do it 9 times, it's 3. So some of us just keep doing it until we can. Because you want to multiply the 3s into as many 3s as possible. But actually minimum is 3 times. 3 times around the hill. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to stop here. Anybody would like to share any pastimes, anything about Govardhan Leela? You have questions, doubts, concerns? Yes. Just knock on it on the top. That means, oops, there you go, there you go. See?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
He likes to be patted. He's a devotee, so he likes to be patted.
You were saying that Govardhan is Krishna himself, but you also said he's a pure devotee. How can he be both at the same time?
You ever heard of Lord Chaitanya? Yes. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is devotee, pure devotee of Krishna? Yes. And is he a Krishna himself? Yes. Krishna can do anything. We can't do anything, but some things. We can't do everything, let's put it this way. But Krishna can do anything and everything. He can take any role. He can become a devotee, right? Like say, for example, in this Leela I was talking about the fire sacrifice, he's a devotee, right? He becomes a Brahmin and does devotional work. And he's chanting mantras. He doesn't know the mantras. Now you think, why does Krishna not know the mantras? He's Krishna. He should know the mantras, right? He knows everything. But that's Yogamaya. Yogamaya makes him forget the mantras. So he doesn't know mantras. So he says, Swaha. That's his mantra. But if Krishna says, that's as good as any mantra, right? Anything coming from Krishna's mouth is as good as the best of the best out there. So that's Krishna. This is why when we love Krishna, we should know Krishna doesn't always want us to bow down to him and offer our obeisances and namo namo. He doesn't like that. And this Leela that we do, Damodar Leela, right? Damodar Astakam, he says that. I'm not inspired by devotees who love me with awe and reverence. But those who have spontaneous love for me. What is spontaneous love? You can think of Krishna, particularly Jagannath loves that, okay? You can think of Jagannath as your friend. So what do you do with your friends? What do you do with friends? Play mischief too, right? Sometimes you do mischief, right? Yes? So you can do mischief with Jagannath. You see what I'm saying? You can play with Jagannath. If you do that, he'll love you more than all the kirtan that happens here. He'll love you because you're now intimately relating with him. You see what I mean? As a friend. You get the idea? So Krishna does that. He wants to relate with us like us. Why is Jagannath not complete? One of the reasons not complete is in the form is because we're not complete. So he wants to come to our standard and our level and say, I'm with you right now. Let's have a good time together. Krishna loves having a good time. You like having a good time? Yeah, so Krishna loves it too. That's why you like it. So you want to give Krishna a good time? Just imagine in your mind, right? That he is your age, he's like you, his mother has to bathe him, and maybe you can bathe him because you can say, Krishna, that's not how you take a shower. This is how you take a shower. This is how you take a bath. You can talk to him like that and be with him like that, right? So what happens is, now you're building a nice, loving relationship with Krishna. And so whenever you're with him, you feel very good and happy. Then you chant nicely, you dance nicely, you feast nicely, right? You all do the things that devotees do. What do devotees do? They associate with devotees, right? They read the books, they chant Hare Krishna and do kirtan, right? They offer food to Krishna and eat devotional diet, dance in front of him. And then they encourage others to do the same thing, right? So we can do all those things. But now, knowing that, you really love Krishna with all your heart and soul. Otherwise, sometimes you love something more than Krishna. Like what do you think sometimes children love more than Krishna? What? Playing, right? Sometimes they forget Krishna when they're playing, right? Their toys. Anything you like to eat a lot? You like to eat pizza? Yeah. Of course, you are a devotee. But a lot of children eat pizza without thinking of Krishna, right? So we can forget. But if we have a relationship, then we don't forget. Like that. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Nityananda, you want to say something? Yeah.
I appreciate this point that we should think of.
Yes.
I was appreciating this point that of cultivating a relationship with Krishna. So thinking of him as a friend, or thinking about him and seeing him in our daily activities. I was curious. It's also said that the temple is the holy dham of Krishna.
Yes.
So how can we see that this place isn't just a normal building or a normal church or something like that, or even that our neighborhood is different? How can we cultivate this appreciation that we live in the dham and see it like that?
Yeah, Krishna actually sees, one who sees me in everything, and everything in me actually sees, he says, right? So we see everything as related to Krishna, and Krishna related to everything, like that, right? So in this wonderful temple with these wonderful pastimes that are happening, we can see those pastimes and we can take part in those pastimes, right? Be part of the pastimes and think, wow, that's so nice, they're dancing so nicely, he's lifting the hill, showing them different things, 7 days, 7 nights of fun, that type of thing, right? So you set yourself into that mood. Then you see the devotees and you think to yourself that that these are all very beloved to Krishna. All these people are very beloved to Krishna. Therefore, the thought cannot even cross our mind that some devotee has a problem, that this person is not good. The thought just doesn't cross our mind. We're so happy to see the devotees, and we know that all of them are very beloved to Krishna, right? And then the prasadam that's being served out here, and then the kirtans that happen. In fact, the question might be just the opposite. Why don't we see this thing as now? Why don't we, It's because we're so much steeped in ignorance, so much conditioned by our past lives, where we forgot Krishna, right? Which is the greatest of all sins in the world. To forget Krishna is the greatest sin in the world. So like that, we can see anything and everything, anyone and everyone in connection to Krishna. Everyone is a child of Krishna. Krishna says, Aham bij pradapitaha, right? I'm the seed-giving father of all living entities. So because he's the seed-giving father of all living entities, therefore we see every living entity as a child of Krishna. If they're a child of Krishna and they've forgotten about Krishna, what can you do? You can remind the child and connect them back with their father, right? The original father. And he'll become so happy to retrieve his child again. Does that make sense? And so in that way, we're always remembering Krishna and we never forget Krishna, right? So how do we remember Krishna? And it's not just Krishna as a person. We remember Krishna's pastimes. We remember his place, the dham. We remember his paraphernalia, right? We remember his names. There's so many things to remember about Krishna, right? His entourage, the people who always surround Krishna, right? Like that. So if we stay in that not just mindset, but our intelligence, our ego, our consciousness, our heart stays in that arena, Krishna says, then you are engaging in devotional service. And if you engage in devotional service, Krishna says in the 4th canto, you are performing all pious activities that can be performed. He accepts that you perform all pious activities. Otherwise, we keep trying to do pious activities and we think, I'm not doing this properly. I'm not finishing this activity. I've not even started this activity. Then you feel bad about yourself. That's not correct. You shouldn't feel bad. You should understand now you've come to know Krishna and his devotees and had the shelter of the spiritual master. You should be the happiest person in the world. Now just engage. Engage in that. Stop thinking about the past. Start thinking about what you're doing now and eternally what you have been doing. It's just temporarily we've come here, right? But eternally we're always in Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. We don't separate from Krishna, just like Krishna doesn't separate from us. That's why he comes as Paramatma. Who is Paramatma? Paramatma, Prabhupada says, is Krishna, the spiritual master, and the associates sitting in our heart. That's Paramatma. So even in our heart we see Krishna, we see Vrindavan, we see it's the Dham, where performance of pastimes are happening with Krishna, between the devotees and Krishna. And we're witnessing and sometimes participating ourselves in it. Like that. This is distinct from sahaja. Sahaja means that you think you are Krishna, or you think you are some advanced devotee of Krishna, and then you start acting like that. That you should never do. Just act like you are. Like say, for example, if you love eating ice cream, right? Just tell Krishna, I know you love eating ice cream too. And so give some ice cream to Krishna too. So that now you'll say, well, we don't offer ice cream to Krishna. Well, you can if it's made by Radha Krishna Prabhu. Radha Krishna Prabhu makes the best ice cream. Do you know that? You should line up in front of his house and say, hey, turn it into an ice cream factory or something. Yeah, now you can offer it to Krishna, right? Because he makes pure ice cream. So like that. So you love ice cream? Go to Radha Krishna, ask him for some ice cream, beg him. He's a Brahmin, so make sure you reward him nicely. And then you take that ice cream and offer it to your deity, and then the both of you have some nice time eating the ice cream, right? That's not sahaja. That is very much our program. That's our program. Everything we do in relation to Krishna. Everything. If we are sad, we think that maybe Krishna is sad too right now. So we go to Krishna and say, why are you sad? I know why I'm sad. Why are you sad? Then Krishna will tell him, I'm sad because you keep forgetting me. And you don't hug me enough. You don't offer me nice prasadam enough. You don't read enough. You don't whatever. You see what I'm saying? And now you come out of your unhappiness because now that's going to make Krishna happy. So do it now. So you're out of your unhappiness. Krishna consciousness is the best remedy for anything in this world. Whether it's an opportunity, whether it's a challenge. If it's a challenge, inside the challenge is an opportunity, right? Businessmen make money out of solving challenges, solving problems, and they make a lot of money out of it. So a problem is your pot of gold. Now, know how to use your pot of gold and take value out of it. Like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
I was really appreciating this point that like our remembrance of Krishna and never forgetting him, we need to take responsibility in that. So many times we get distracted or let people take our wheel of where we're going or our focus away because we're thinking about how they're not this or they're that or this, blah, 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 blah. But we just have to see where our heart is and take responsible for that.
Yeah. And actually, it's actually not so true that somebody's hand on the wheel is causing whatever. It's our mind that's allowing that hand on the wheel in the first case. So the first thing you could do is correct yourself, right? It's our mind, our intelligence, our desires that is causing us to work with people who are distracting us. So the people who are distracting us can only distract us if our mind is distracted. So the first thing we got to do is to focus. That is why Prabhupada said that the verse that made the biggest difference to him in Bhagavad Gita was Vyasatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana. Why? Why that verse? Because that verse says, become one-pointed. Like Arjuna can only see the eye of the bird, right? One-pointed. One-pointed means that our mind, our intelligence, our emotions, our ego, our consciousness, all these five are one-pointed on always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. Then the distractions, even if somebody puts their hand on your wheel, nothing will happen. Why? Because Krishna's hand's on the wheel. Who can move it any way different from Krishna is moving it? Even if they try, right? Because sometimes, when your child was a baby, you sat him on the lap and you drove your car, right? And the baby put his hand on the wheel. But that didn't make the car go wrong. Even if he tried, he was going like this. But your steady hands were on the wheel, right? So the car stayed steady. Krishna's steady hands on the wheel, his hands are always steady, by the way. His hands on the wheel, and his hands on the wheel because our consciousness, our ego, our mind, our intelligence, our emotions are focused. Right? They're very focused, not multi-branched like that. Thank you. Wonderful point. Hare Krishna. All right. She has a lot of questions, right? A little shy today. All right. Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for teaching us today.
Thank you.
Please forgive me if this has already been answered, but my question is, how do we bow and have deep reverence for Krishna while also playing with and loving Krishna as a friend? Wouldn't one relationship mood make us forget the other?
Very good question. That's a very intelligent question. Prabhupada said that we should see the deities as, who did he say we should see them as? Lakshmi Narayan. So Lakshmi Narayan is Krishna. Krishna has, like in a sense, two ways that he deals with us as God. He's God, the lover boy, and God, the controller. As God, the controller, he comes as Narayan, and he comes, and his consort is called Lakshmi. So we see Lakshmi Narayan, and then we serve them with awe and reverence. Like that, right? Okay, when we serve them with awe and reverence, what happens is we start becoming disciplined in our lives. We start making progress from being unsteady to becoming steady. From unsteady relationship with God to a steady relationship with God. That's what happens when we worship with awe and reverence. It brings steadiness to us. But what is the purpose of that steadiness? The purpose of that steadiness is that you can love steadily. Your love can awaken and it can become a steady love. Right? So in that steadiness, we need to have spontaneous love for Krishna. Now we have to come to a spontaneous level. What is spontaneous? Spontaneous means whatever you are doing, Krishna says it very nicely in Bhagavad Gita, whatever you're eating, whatever you're doing, you do it as an offering to me. Whatever you do it as an offering to him. So how do you offer it to Krishna? You offer it to Krishna by having him partake of it. Like say for example, you made some nice bhoga, right? And you offered it to Krishna. So what did Krishna do? He partook of that bhoga, right? He ate the bhoga and then he gave it to us to eat. So he can partake of whatever we are doing, he should partake of it. That partaking is not in awe and reverence. Why? Because awe and reverence means that you're doing it out of duty. You're not doing it out of love. And what did we say? That the results increase multifold when you go through 3 levels. Serving out of fear, serving out of duty, and finally serving out of love. Gives the biggest results, massive value, right? So basically what happens is the fear and duty happen with awe and reverence. Awe means fear. Reverence means duty. Prema means love. All 3 must be going on all the time. Prabhupada, when he would dress Radharani, his hands would shake while he's dressing her. It's not because he didn't have steady hands. He had very steady hands. But why his hands would shake? He was fearful that he might offend Radharani in some way. That's fear. That's fear. Now Prabhupada's fear wasn't out of fear, it was out of love that he had that fear. That's a very high level. We can't think that we're there, we're not there. We're not even at the lowest level. We're probably below the lowest level somewhere. Like we sing every day, Patita Pavana, Hetu Tava Avatar, Mosama Patita Prabhu, Na Pai Beara, right? You'll never find anybody more fallen than me. Like that. That is our mood. That is our, not just mood, that is our attitude. Attitude is everything, Prabhupada said. So, then when we rise to duty, now we're doing things like, oh, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I'm doing 16 rounds every day. Why? Because I've been told at the initiation I should chant 16 rounds. Or some devotees nicely told me, please chant 16 rounds. Then you can qualify to become an initiated devotee like that. So you're doing out of duty now. You're coming to the temple out of duty. You're attending Mangal Arati out of duty. Whatever you're doing, you're out of duty, right? So what does that do now? That makes you reverent towards the Lord. You now revere the person. You revere the Lord. You revere the devotees. And then with this reverence, the blessings come from the Lord. Thank you. You love me so much. I want to bless you. And what does he bless us with? He blesses us with prema, with love. When that love arises in our system, then now we start serving. Also, all 3 happen simultaneously, by the way. It's not like primary school, high school, university. Those don't happen simultaneously. They happen consecutively. When you're in primary school, you're not in high school and you're not in university like that. But these 3 happen simultaneously. And then the third one, out of love, you do a little more internally. You don't sort of show it outside. You do it internally. Why? Because if you show outside, that means that's sahaja. That means you're trying to prove that you're a great devotee or something, you know? You've come to the level of love, right? We don't. That's very internal. True love is very internal. Especially unfaithful love is very internal, right? Example is given of a wife who really serves her husband very nicely, but she has a paramour that's not her husband. But she never lets her husband know. He never gets a clue that she has a paramour. She keeps it in her heart. Right? It's not a perfect example in this world because we tell people not to do that. But you get the idea from this, what happens. So like that, you know, some of us are married and we have husbands, but we might think that I love Krishna more than anybody else, right? It's a paramour like that. So that you keep internal. That you do internally, you don't show anybody outside. So now you're able to do all three simultaneously, not just two simultaneously. You're able to do fear, duty, and love simultaneously. Awe, reverence, and love simultaneously. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? Good, nice, thank you. That's a very intelligent question, by the way. It takes a person of great intelligence to ask intelligent questions. Very good, excellent. Anybody else want to say something before we move on to the rest of what we have to do today? And then tonight the program starts at 5 o'clock, I understand, with Kirtan. 5:30 will be Abhishek on the altar, and simultaneously we'll be singing and dancing here. And then at 6 o'clock, His Holiness Rita Dwaja Maharaj will give a nice class. Jai Rita Dwaja Maharaj ki Jai. And then at 6:30, we'll do circumambulation of the hill. Normally it's done here on the actual day. I don't know how it's was arranged today. Anybody know whether the hill is inside here or it's outside? No? Okay. It's one of the two. But normally we used to do it here, and the students of TJ Academy, TKG Academy would actually make the arrangements. They would set up the hill and everything. I think that will continue this year. And if it does, it normally happens here, and then, or we may do it outside, one of the two. And then at 7 o'clock, the feast will be served out, and then at 8 o'clock, we'll do Damodaraskam prayers, as always, for this month. Thank you very much. All glories to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, Vanchakalpa, Taruvescha, Kripasandu Vyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhya, Vaishnavebhya, Namo Nama, Anantakoti Vaishnava Brindaki Jai. Jai Shrimad Shri 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 Govardhan Leela ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji ki Jai. Shri Gaur Bhakta Brinda ki Jai. Hare Krishna.